So you can go, see where the corner is there? You go 2 metres away from that. 2 metres
sorry,
away
officer,
from
we're not
the strip
protesting
there.
here though.
Okay, we perceive you to be protesting, so...
Can I ask what your all due respect, can I just ask what your definition of protesting is then?
Right. I'm going to be giving out some notifications at the moment. I'm just asking you politely to move on.
Yeah, no, but I think, well, this is refusal. This is a refusal of right in our public land.
No,
this is
12 section, there's a notice in place which I'll give you a copy of, and it covers all the strip up King Street, okay? And then 2 metres away from King Street.
But have you got a warrant? Have you got a warrant for this, officer?
If we perceive you to be protesting, then we'll issue with the
So it's Sergeant Susie.
Sergeant
Can I?
Susie Worth.
Yeah. Have you got a warrant for this?
It's not necessary. We're in section 14. We've got the notification, and I'll give it to you in a minute. Okay, I'm just going to speak to these people as well.
Carry on. Carry on.
The notification with you, but I'm asking you to do it now, otherwise I'll send the notification. Helpful for us.
Okay.
In breach of section 14 of the Public Order Act, I'm asking you to move.
I'm not breaching anything, officer.
I'm asking you to move because the Chief Constable has put an authority to prohibit protests in relation to the Gaza protest or anything.
I'm not breaching anything, officer. In all due respect, I'm not breaching anything, officer. I don't. I've just.
Stay here. You'd be liable to.
Can I ask? Yeah, no, but can I? I'm asking you. Can I ask you what your definition of protesting is? Because I'm not here protesting.
Okay, you'd have to ask the Chief Constable, and he's not.
But he's not here, so
can reinforce that decision which he's made. But what I will do is I'll get a letter.
Like I said,
and I'll give you a
no, but I don't want a letter. I just want you to explain to me what your term of protesting means.
I'm not. You're stood here in relation to.
I'm stood here because it's a public place and I'm entitled to stand here and I am entitled to follow my rights.
I'll answer your question. There's been protests that have been taking place on this street. That has caused serious disruption.
Disruption to what?
Just let me finish and then you can ask a question. So the Chief Constable has decided that serious disruption has been met, and as a consequence he's put conditions that anyone that he believes or officers that are working on his behalf are associated with that protest will be told about that, and if they continue to protest and be present, which I believe you are here for, then you'd be liable to arrest under section 14 of the Public Order. So just a second, I'll let you ask a question. So if you continue to stay here, okay, you will be liable to arrest. So is there anything I can say or reasonably do before you actually get arrested in breach of section 14?
Right, going back to what I was asking you, can I ask who your sergeant, your chief constable is then?
That's irrelevant. Okay,
no, I'm just asking you. I'm asking you regarding this. Sir Peter Fahey. Right, okay, so isn't he being accused of allegations of corruption, sexual offenders misconduct?
That's relevant to what we're talking about.
I'm sorry, officer. I'm sorry, officer, but the section. But this, I don't believe section 14 is irrelevant to me because I'm not here protesting. I mean, I don't see any banners on me. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. And I don't see any banners on me shouting anything.
Understand what I've just said about section
officer,
14?
I'm trying to defend myself here, officer. Are you not going to give me my chance to defend myself, officer? Can I ask what your number is, officer?
Actually, 01306.
01306. 01306 is not accepting my right to defend myself. Do you have any comments about that, officer? Your officer is not letting me have my right to defend myself. Do I have the right to defend myself, officer? Can someone tell me my rights, officer? Officer, can you please tell me my rights? Can an officer please tell me my rights? I'm asking you nicely, officer, can you please tell me my rights? Can you please tell me my rights?
Rights in respect of what?
Pardon?
Rights in respect of what? I don't understand what.
It's standing on here.
It's been explained to you once, and we're coming to explain.
But he's not explaining no rights to me. Officer with the loudspeaker thing, megaphone. Can you call him for me, please, officer?
He'll back down shortly to speak with you if you want.
I would like to speak to him at the moment, please, officer. Because I'm being accused of being arrested here. I'm being threatened of harassment. I mean, yesterday I was also harassed by another member of the police officer. Why is he walking away from me, officer?
Yeah, you can start the conversation.
Right, okay, but can you tell me my rights, an officer? Because yesterday I was harassed by another member of the police officer. And if I'm quite honest with you, I don't feel confident with speaking to a police officer, nor do I feel confident in actually communicating or cooperating with the officer, because I was abused and I was physically assaulted the other day, and the police officer 15097 refused to do anything about it, and so did the other officer. So I think I'm well within my rights not to actually cooperate with an officer. Now, I don't think I should be cooperating with any other officer other than the actual chief constable himself.
Okay, unfortunately, that's not how the legislation works. It's been explained to you once.
But I spoke to another officer yesterday who was on duty, that he said to me, if I have the right not to cooperate with an officer if I feel harassed, intimidated, and what was the other thing that he said to me? If I feel alarmed and distressed by another police officer, which I did. I felt humiliated in a public place and intimidated by officer yesterday. Now, like I said to you, officer, you're refusing to tell me what my rights are. You're refusing to speak to me, and I am asking you. I want to speak to the chief constable himself, and you're threatening and arresting me. You're telling me that I'm a protester. What have I said that I'm a protester? You're refusing to tell me what your definition of a protester is.
If you want me to answer, you have to stop speaking.
Right, go on then, officer.
It's called a conversation.
Go on.
Yeah. You asked me a question, haven't you, about explaining your rights?
Yeah.
Okay. Those rights in relation to Section 14 have already been explained once to you by the inspector present. Let me finish.
Right.
Okay. Shortly, another officer will come and speak to you and will explain those rights again, and will show you a map and will give you a notice. Up until that point, there's nothing further I've got to tell you. But that will happen.
Look, but that's the thing there. Like I said to you, I'm not willing to cooperate with you anymore, because you refuse to read me my rights. You refuse to tell me what the definition of protesting is, and you've actually just come over to me telling me that I'm going to be arrested. For what reason?
I don't think I did. I don't think I've spoken. This is the first time I've spoken to you.
What's your name, sir?
I wish not to disclose that, officer, if that's all right.
You've seen an officer here present, regardless of that, the chief constable. Just come in. The chief constable. Just want to get the audio on.
Yeah. Look, can I ask one quick question before this? How long of tape have you got on there?
How long a tape have we got?
Yeah.
We've got loads of tapes. That's irrelevant.
Loads of tapes. No, that is not relevant, because when I was speaking to an officer yesterday...
Under Section 14 of the Public Order Act, the Chief Constable has put conditions in relation to protest on the very pavement that you're stood on, okay? He's prohibited protest taking place on King Street, okay? That's this area of King Street all the way down to the junction with Deansgate. So you're actually in an area protesting, or I believe you're here for protest, and you shouldn't be here. You're in breach of Section 14 of the Public Order Act.
Under what accounts?
I've told you on 2 occasions over there, and I know you're going to fire questions, but I just want to make sure you understand.
You're not telling me questions, because I'm not understanding that Section 14. I do not understand the Section 14, and I'm asking you questions about it.
Let me explain what Section 14...
You refuse to...
Section 14... No. Section 14 of the Public Order Act.
That's not what I'm asking you. What I'm asking you was, which is on recording, what is the accounts of this Chief Constable actually implying Section 14 on this place?
Okay, the Chief Constable has said that as a result of the protests that took place for a number of weeks since I think the 18th or 19th of July, that serious disruption has been caused. Okay, right. He has decided that, and he has, because a senior officer on the ground or the Chief Constable in advance, that don't have to be here, can look at all the evidence and decide whether serious disruption or damage, or disorder, and he believes that serious disruption the threshold has been met. As a consequence, he has put conditions prohibiting protest in relation to activity in the Middle East, predominantly the Gaza, to prohibit people protesting on this area of King Street. So what he has identified is that no people should be on this area of King Street. What he's further identified is that if people want to protest, you can go and stand over there, okay, which is a designated...
which is a cage. Being treated like
there's a barrier there on the pavement.
I feel it's a cage.
You don't want to stand behind it. I can remove the barrier, but I want you to stand there. That's on Police Street at the junction with Ridgefield Street and King Street.
So can I just ask you a question?
That is the designated protest site currently, and still, and that's about the 4th time I've told you, you are in breach of Section 14. Now, I don't think there's any ambiguity.
I don't believe I'm in breach of Section 14.
Well, it's not for us to decide. That's
yes, so that's not up for you to decide as well for me to be arrested. Second of all, officer, for what reason are people protesting here?
What reason are people protesting?
Yes.
For? It's in relation to conflicts in the Gaza, I believe.
I don't believe
You've got people that are representing the Palestinian community, and you've got people that are representing the Israeli community. Now, I've been here on a Saturday when you see all the flags. There's some ladies down there that says Jews for Justice, Palestine. So yes. I reckon it's in relation to the Gaza conflict.
Right. So that's what your opinion is, right?
That's my answer to your question.
So are you telling me this so-called Section 14 has been applied for the opposition?
What's the opposition?
The opposition of this so-called protest, which you're not.
Sorry,
which
it's just what
well, you're telling me.
opposition
You just told me that they were here on representing Palestine, and that there were Israeli oppositions here. So
I
can you
didn't
tell
mention the word opposition.
well, I'm not. I didn't say
Well,
you
it's
did.
video, so we can
Well,
argue
I didn't
about
say you
that.
did. Sorry, officer.
I'm not going to answer any more of your questions, but I think you're quite clear in the fact that
Well,
you breached
officer,
Section
I'm
14.
trying to have a conversation with you.
You can dispute it, but I've told you.
I want. Can I speak to a senior member of police then? Do I have the right? Do I have the right to speak to another member of the hierarchy? Officer, can I speak to a member of the police? I'm asking. I'm politely requesting I speak to another member of the police.
At this moment in time, that officer that's just spoken to you is the officer in charge down here.
But can I? Well, he's refusing to cooperate with me at the moment. Can I speak to someone else? I'm asking you politely. I could easily start going and getting aggressive. But
It breaches Section 10 and 11 of the Human Rights Act.
he has, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So there you go.
really-
I mean, this is going against my own human rights as it is. But freedom of speech and freedom of thought, and the right to refuse. You're refusing my right to protest in a public area. And second of all, Kedem, I believe, is not abiding by international law. So I believe which you're trying to imply this so-called Section 14 on me. You're not. Why don't you start acting, get Kedem or the rest of your officers to actually abide by the law? So if a police officer, can you tell me now, if a police officer breaks a law now, are you going to arrest him? If he breaks a law, are you going to arrest him?
In respect of which law?
Well, what's he called? The officer that spoke to me?
That's the branch commander, Inspector
Sorry?
Hayward.
Inspector Hayward. Right, okay, so if Inspector Hayward breaks a law, are you going to arrest him?
If he commits an offence, yes.
So, technically, he has committed an offence. He's breached my human rights. I've asked him to read me my rights, which he's refused to do. By law, I'm sure I have the right to have my rights read out to me. So why are you going to arrest him?
Which articles of the Human Rights Act is agreed?
Well, I don't know. You're an officer, so can you not tell me? 10 and 11.
Has he just offered this gentleman an area to protest peacefully?
But I've asked him to read him my rights.
How is he-
No,
how is he-
officer.
How is he infringed?
Officer, he's speaking to me here. Officer speaking to me, and he's refusing to speak to me now.
Come on.
You just split it.
He's refusing to speak to me. This is what I don't understand. Why? I find it rude. I find it rude that he starts talking to someone else. I find it extremely rude.
He asked a question.
I'm asking him a question. I'm asking for my rights to be read out, which wasn't read out to me. I've asked for a definition of the protest, which was refused to me clearly. So, officer, like I was saying, why are you going to be arresting him?
Say again.
Why aren't you arresting him then? For breaching my
He
rights?
hasn't committed any offences.
He just clearly explained to you he has.
No, he's just said that two articles which he feels have been infringed, Articles 10 and 11. And I've just explained to you that they haven't been infringed, because a protest area has been assigned, which is in view of the actual shop. So there's no infringement. It's
Right, so,
preferred and
but that's the thing though, so Kedem,
If you feel
Kedem,
that another article's been infringed, please feel free to tell me.
Kedem is actually breaching international law of selling products, which the sergeant clearly actually accepted the other day. So I don't remember the name of the sergeant. She was a short blonde woman, really nice. I mean, she was actually cooperating and talking to me the other day, and she actually stated that it will become under the Theft Act. Can you tell me what the Theft Act is, officer?
I can tell you what the Theft Act is, but can you explain why they've contravened the Theft Act? And in which
right,
country?
okay. So what does the Theft Act involve?
It's
If I
appropriating property belonging to another.
yes, so that basically means
Permanently depriving.
yes. That basically means that if I steal a bike off a fellow, like I don't know, say this officer 12279 over here, I steal a bike off him and I kindly sell it to the young lady over there. Are you telling me I'm not breaking the law and she's not breaking the law?
No, that'd be theft, wouldn't it?
That comes under the theft. So technically, Kedem is stealing products from occupied Palestinian lands. They're now selling it to people in Britain, which is obviously against international law. So is that not exactly the same as the Theft Act? Because they are depriving the Palestinians.
Does the British Theft Act apply over?
But does the international law not apply in Britain?
Yes, it does.
So there you go then, officer. So why have we been refused the right to protest in a public place against a company which is actually...
Stolen?
Sorry?
What items have been stolen?
Have a look inside there.
Debating with you.
What?
You appreciate that? I'm only debating with you.
Yeah, you're only debating with me, but can you guarantee me that I will not be arrested for actually debating with you?
I can't guarantee that you
So-
won't be arrested because
So I'm trying to have a conversation.
There has been conditions. Which
So
have
that's the
been
thing, though.
explained
Look,
to
I'm asking you to get the chief constable down here right now. I want to speak to him.
I'd be quite happy to debate with you over that.
I want to speak to him.
The chief constable.
I think I have the right to speak to him.
You do?
Because if he's implying conditions on me, quite frankly, it's a human right of mine to actually have control over myself.
I don't think.
So I don't want a chief constable. All due respect, I do not want a chief constable actually trying to control my life, trying to control where I enter, how I walk, how I speak, how I eat, what I eat, even how I even think.
Right.
Yeah. I want to speak to him. I want to have a friendly chat with him.
And have you made any appointments with him? Have you tried to contact
Well,
him?
I've asked numerous police officers, and I'm asking you and that officer over there that I want to speak
I
to
can
him.
certainly provide you with an email details where you can contact his office and make
But
an appointment.
I don't have
to
an email,
speak
sorry,
with him.
officer.
You don't have the email
No.
facility. That smartphone you have in your hand doesn't have email facility.
He does have an email facility, but I do not have an email, officer.
You don't have an email.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not got SIM in here.
Hasn't got a SIM in either. So you're live streaming without a SIM.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. At that point.
I'm only
at that
recording.
point-
We can give you the
Officer,
address
look.
that you can write to them.
Look, I'm asking you. I want to speak to him. Sorry,
We just got obviously other business.
officer. Look. Can I just speak to you? I want to speak to a police officer. Emma, don't be like this now. Why are you blanking me out for? Why are you blanking me, you sad get? Right, can I speak to this chief constable? I'm not going to argue with you. You're sorry. Yeah.
No, because I have no idea where he is. And
Can you not get those officers over there to you?
Apparently, the inspector there is running the operation on the
He's
ground
refusing to
today.
speak to me. No, you're a police station. Just sort something out.
Well, if he chooses as his own person not to speak to you, I can't, he's not a glove puppet, I can't make him speak, can
So
I?
who can I speak to now then?
What is it in relation to?
Section 14.
Right.
He's threatened to arrest me for what? I'm asking you what?
Well, I don't know if he's threatened to arrest you, I think he's trying to make you aware that
He just came over to me, he said, you've got it on footage, he threatened to arrest me.
Right, well, there is a section 14 in place, and I think what he's saying is once they come down, if people still are on the street, then obviously they'll go through the process. If people move, once we've explained it again, and they've got the notice, and they move, then there'll be nobody arrested.
But why did he come over to me and start arresting me? Now that's just intimidates me there.
I can't
I feel
explain
distressed
why
and alarmed there.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I can't explain why he said he's going to arrest you
So
because I don't know what he's arresting you for.
Can you intervene and actually get a senior officer to come down here and speak
He
to
is
me?
the senior officer today.
But he's refusing to speak
Right,
to
if
me.
you want to speak to somebody else, then you'll have to ring up and request.
What about the
to speak to
sergeant
somebody
over there?
else.
Does she not have a
Well, she's
hierarchy
not-
than him?
No, he's the inspector. She's a sergeant, he's an inspector. He's the bronze on the ground today, so he is the senior
Who's
officer
Silver then?
today. He's at the headquarters.
Can I not get in touch with him?
If you want to ring up and try and speak to him, but whether you get hold of him,
Right.